Hey y'all, it's MJ from All to Love. How are you? Today I have a little bit of time to spare before my yoga class in Sagres. It's been like such a mega month, a really, really big month as far as this paradigm shift on the planet goes and the energies moving forward. I have titled this as the title of my book because it's important for me to remind people that I've published a book that essentially helps people to break free from toxic patterns, patterns of abuse, patterns of emotional manipulation, and recognizing that a lot of the deeper you go in your own spiritual journey and transformation, it's like delayering, right? So in my observation, the manipulation becomes more covert, and at the same time your awareness becomes more heightened, so you're better able to cut the patterns loose as soon as something comes into your awareness. For empaths, and really the majority of humanity who's bound to these enslavement patterns, it's it's really important to keep meditating and to keep, practicing being present. One thing that has come into my awareness as well is the importance of a physical practice. Something that is so prevalent is just thought and people being in their heads. And so we have these awakenings, or we have these experiences which lift the veil, and then we just go around into these different rabbit holes, ingesting different thought frequencies, which, again, if you're becoming a sovereign being, the majority of the thought frequency out there is not necessarily your divine source. It's not necessarily the truth of your beingness. It's more thought. It's just it's just more gobbledygook, right? It's because this is a global quantum shift in how we are projecting into the field, how we are projecting our chosen reality, right? It is monumental. And it's one thing to watch The Secret. It's one thing to have like one or two awakening experiences that feel really divine. It's another thing to actually live your truth and live your purpose. And I published the book over 3 years ago, and I'm still integrating that information from within my own self. And yet it's come through me. It's been born out of me based on awakenings that I had almost 20 years ago, and a life that I've lived from having this intuitive awareness pretty much the whole time, and being guided in various ways by a mother who was reading Louise Hay in the 80s, when Louise Hay just came out with Heal Your Body, and this idea of our mental, our mind over matter, essentially. So healing, like truly healing, is an emotional and mental thing. It's not the reverse. It's not about putting stuff on, right? It's not about just light, fluffy, hanging around people that make us feel good and all of that. It is to do with integrating a false perception, right? Integrating fearful perceptions, i.e. experiences you're having that are shitty, or like, oh no, what's happening? Well, don't own it, right? Like, that's, I bang on about this in the book. Own and transform your projections. And even recently, for me, there's been more triggers around money and around worth, and that comes off the back of cutting more toxicity loose, of addressing covert manipulation, domination, and control, cutting that loose and having a dynamic shift, and then going really high, and then having more stuff being churned up. And what I'm amazed by is how quickly we can start to transform these patterns and rise. And I'm speaking really to the true empaths, people who have been doing and sensitized their whole lives, right? And recognizing that we're all at different phases of our journey and we all serve to assist and support in various capacities, but very rarely it's what we think it is, and or it's what it looks like. And that's often how the mind deludes us, how the mind can continually wrap itself back into playing the victim. It's like what it looks like, oh, woe is me. Oh my God, I have no idea. Oh my goodness, what's going on? And that is just ball sacks. That is just pure victimhood, pure not owning one's power, not being responsible. And yet when it feels good, that's fantastic. When it doesn't feel so good, that's when we start to deflect, blame, and pretend like somebody's done something bad to us or done something wrong to us, right? And those of you who totally resonate here, I commend you and I honor you. And for me, I'm truly feeling that sense of cutting loose the people-pleasing patterns. It so does not serve us. And I'm acutely aware of the dominant frequency rising, but still being anchored in rigid belief systems or just enslavement belief systems. And it's really like the more sensitive you become, the more like, the more toxic it feels. And so the more self-responsible you have to become, as in not just sharing your energy with everyone all the time and being extraordinarily choosy with who you choose to spend your time with and who you choose to align yourself with, i.e., ideally, other self-responsible creators. Because it's one thing, you know, again, to have these experiences and then to just want to hook into people that make us feel good. And that is something I can truly address for empaths who are really endeavoring the work. It's that it will keep coming at you. Those people will keep, it's like moth to a flame. They'll keep coming at you and have various ways of sort of like, you know, and it will trigger your wounding. That's the point. It will trigger your sense of just wanting to make people feel good because that's what empaths do. And I of this fucking thing, the empath and the narcissist. I really am not like I'm using the words, right? But there again, we can get looped into mental patterns. The amount of people that I've met over these last couple of years who are like, oh, I'm such an empath. And then I sit with that. I sit because something hits up and I'm like, what is that? And the point is, people that are new to this information, they're not empathic, they're reactive. And it's the fact that they're in their reactivity. They're like, oh, I'm so empathic. That's not empathy. That's just reactivity. And because the reactivity is shitty or it doesn't feel good, it's like, oh my God, I'm such an empath and I'm so sensitive. No, you're just not practiced in self-awareness. You've not been meditating long enough. You've not been doing the work long enough, and you've not been doing the embodiment work. And that is another big thing with the empath light worker community, the spiritual, whatever fucking label you want to put on it. It's that people get so in their heads about it and they're not doing the physical embodiment work like yoga. Any practice that brings you into your body, that brings you into your heart, that is a must, an absolute must. If we're thinking the thoughts and feeling the emotions and doing the spiritual work, we have to be doing the physical embodiment work as well. Otherwise, we are incapable of holding space for ourselves. We're incapable of perceiving in a truly anchored way. And that really comes off the back of my own healing and also my own dedicated yoga practice for almost 20 years. I've been practicing yoga since I was 13. I've been healing my own distorted physical body patterns for, you know, very, very consciously for over 7 years now through the discipline of yoga and meditation practice. And I'm very aware of even these like sort of base tone online communities of just like bottom feeding energy. And like there again, I'm almost expressing things for my own integrity that I'm aware will trigger people. I'm aware that it's not necessarily going to feel good to be told certain things. And yet I'm also aware of my sense of love and compassion for humanity and the rising of this empathic integrity to be like, this is just par for the course. It's great to go to high vibrational events. It's great to, you know, feel good and all of that stuff. And yet there is grit and inner work that bottoms us out that doesn't feel good. It's not comfortable. And for the true empaths, the majority of our lives have never been comfortable. It's never really been that fun. It's been a lot of deep, profound suffering for the majority of my life because the world is in such pain, because we are destroying the planet, because because humanity is anchored in this enslavement system, which is base tone, which is dark. And for the true empath, you'll resonate because you know it. You know it. You've been feeling it too. You've been doing this inner work for a while. You've been doing the physical embodiment work as well. And I'm saying this from my personal journey and based on direct experience via different healing communities of healers that go on, talk about this, that, and the other. And increasingly, I'm aware that there's a lot of ego and there's a lot of control and domination, especially again regarding the true light worker, the true empath, is that you come in with a lot of light, where you contain a lot of light, and people who have been used to dominating through the mental field, through information that they've gathered, which they use to dominate any field that they're in. And here's the thing, when it comes to that level of domination, it's often like out there. So it sounds really good. It might sound really high vibrational, but the reality is, how do we anchor it in the here now? When we talk about different dimensions and we talk about different cosmic origins or different planetary systems and stuff, how does that serve you in the here now? Just be really, really aware of that kind of stuff. You know, if it's truly serving you, if it's truly allowing you to manifest the life that you desire, great. If it's not shifting shit, if it's not helping you manifest anything, then it's not helping you. And that's something, again, that's why I have this channel and I share the journey with you guys, because I've gone round and round in circles, down various rabbit holes, played around in different, manifestation, law of attraction, spiritual healing communities. And what I observe is that people aren't shifting their lives. They're not manifesting money. They're not, they're just going around their little communities, controlling and dominating one another in these karmic entanglements, which they're totally blind to. And ultimately, like, especially if you res with that my vibe here, it's like you'll be aware of the importance of breaking free from circles or spheres like that, because it's not ultimately serving your highest joy. It's not ultimately serving your highest path. There are people who it makes them feel good to hang around you, and ultimately this is an egoic construct, because control and domination feels good to the ego. And I can say that both ways. When you're an empath out working unworthiness wounds, somebody can come along and start massaging your ego in certain ways, and it might feel good until it doesn't feel good anymore. Until you're drained, broke, and you're back in that same loop again. And until you cut that shit out, until you really address what's going on in truth, you're not going to shift it. And based on recent experiences for me, it's more instantaneous now. This is what I mean about the paradigm shift is accelerating, is that now we're going to start to see these really dynamic shifts in our lives. It was literally within 24 hours of cutting out a control domination situation and then manifesting my actual desire. It, like, literally, it's that simple. We have to be addressing those patterns of giving to people who are manipulating us, the people who are trying to control us, because it makes them feel good, but it's based in ego. It's based in triggering one another's different woundings, and it doesn't serve. And ultimately, even though it might not feel good, like, well, and here's the thing, it will feel good for the empath to cut those patterns loose once you see them. And the issue here is that it's also gonna, you might go through guilt, you might go through, oh no, what have I done? Or, oh no, I'm so bad. Fuck that. If you know that there's a situation, person, place, or thing that is not serving you, that is draining your energy, that doesn't feel good ultimately for you, cut it loose. Recognize there is no true victimhood in the soul level. Every being here is choosing their experience on a certain level, and for us to be dictating otherwise is a lie. It's a false construct, and all it does is keep us entangled in unconscious patterns rather than rising ourselves into the true divinity and sovereignty that we're here to express. And it's only when we truly rise into that sovereignty that we can really start to see the feedback resonance of our projection, which is coming from the heart field, not the thought form. Thought is a tool. That's it. That idea that thoughts create reality is a falsity. It's not your thought creating reality. It's your energetic aura field. It's your entire beingness. Thought is a tool to help you shift energy and become more present. Yeah, when you see shitty thought forms, you're going to feel pretty shitty. Yeah, when you feel higher thought form, you're going to feel better. But don't be fooled by other people's thought. Don't be fooled by other people's thought projection. Be present in your entirety. And this is what I talk about in the book, living intuition. Live the bioresonance field that you are in your totality. And the more and more that you do that, you will feel when people are trying to hook in, when they're trying to get something. And again, getting something can be as simple as, just wanting you around, or being nice, right? But being nice isn't necessarily positive and pure intention. Being nice is often covering up more bullshit that we have to work through that we don't want to look at. We don't want to have to feel. And for those who resonate here, you can't deny it because you've been feeling all along. And you're going to recognize those people, places, and things more and more and more. And I just want to remind us that it's not serving you and it's not serving the whole. So cut it loose. This is truly the time of the rise of empathy in our humanity, and for the truly healed divine beings to really step into their sovereignty and walk the path of their divinity. And you can't do that if you're still running unconscious enslavement patterns, if you're still feeling unworthy, if you still feel like you're not good enough. And I can honestly testify to the work in the book. And I'd prefer if people were to buy the book and then do the work in the book before booking sessions, before coaching calls with me. Ultimately, that doesn't necessarily align with all of you. Some of you, there have been very clear, wonderful exchanges, and that's fantastic. But this is the kind of text that you can read over and over again, and because you're going to be delayering, and then you can go back to it and remind yourself about the integrity of being in your presence and owning your whole field. Because there's always going to be the polarity in your experience. There's always going to be a rise and fall. And our humanity wants to chase the highs all the time. And I'm only ever speaking to myself. This is part of the weirdness of a paradigm shift from that perspective of separation. It's that it's only ever the self that you're working with. But what we do in the enslavement system is based in these deeper unconscious wounds. We want to chase the highs. We want it all to be light and fluffy. We want it to just feel good. We want it to but it's not, and it doesn't. Our divinity is a fullness of the expression of the void and the light, of the darkness and the light, of the void and the expression. Creativity. It's like that even in our world. We know that some of the best artists that have left legacies and divine work were hardcore depressive crazy people, right? It's really blind us to the integrity of the work. And I can feel the energy moving through me right now. And I'm really pleased to be shedding my own sort of grasping or distorted, oh, please accept me, you guys, please like me, oh, poor me, and not channel growing fast enough. I don't care. And I know this might sound really fucking harsh, but never was it my intent to set up this channel to make friends. This is my work. This is my divine purpose. And ultimately, watching a few little videos of someone every day it's not you're getting into my life. And that's part of the disparity here, and part of my own unconscious veil of like wanting approval from people, wanting acceptance from people, wanting all y'all to like me. Well, the truth is, I don't care. I don't care if you like me or not. Like, in the most selfish and divine way possible, what my truest path here is to be the highest joy of my own expression. And anyone who is endeavoring that level of enjoyment here, in benevolence, in abundance, and in love, seeking approval from other people is always going to bring you down. It's always going to loop you into another pattern, a distorted enslavement pattern. We're not, because the truth of our sovereignty is that the right people show up at the right time to reflect back exactly where we are. And I can see it now very clearly because I can feel the alignment of my life taking place and taking hold and anchoring in the most visceral, tangible, and like integral way yet. And I know it because I've met those kinds of creators on my life path, and I'm ready. And I've been working on this for years. And this is the difference between wanting people to like you and accept you versus you being in your authenticity, you being in your truth, and you loving the fullness of who you are. Me saying this stuff doesn't mean I don't have love for the entirety of my expression. I absolutely do. But love isn't something that is low-level bullshit. Love isn't something that uses people. Love is something that gives of self. However, it's not true love if I'm not able to receive, is it? If I can't receive the love that I am, then that's not love. That's unworthiness. That's distortion. So thanks you guys for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. I would love and appreciate you guys to go buy my book. It means a lot to me when you guys actually just give to this channel, like the donations. Right now I have to get some major work done on my car. So if any, and it's, the list went on a little bit higher than I expected. And based on having just cut loose some toxicity, I would really appreciate if some of you wanted to share a 10 pound here, you know, and please send it to molly@altalove.com, the PayPal donashe. Because yeah, just because you can send it direct to me, and that would really help me service my car so that I can have a safe journey back to England. And I'm kind of just specifically reaching out to those of you who do donate regularly without putting any demands on me, because I know that you have a sense of regard and appreciation for all of the free content that I actually give and share here on this channel and have done for years. Any and all of your donations right now would really help me service my car, get new brake pads, get the oil changed, and I think there was something else they were doing. Anyway, yeah, that would be super duper duper like amazing, you guys. I need it right now. I need some help. I need some donation from you guys. So and I know for a fact there's a couple of you who are definitely going to send some money. And so thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate you. I love you. And yeah, I send this with love and compassion, but I'm also taking no more shit from nobody. Also, some of you might have noticed I've, no longer am I giving anybody my private phone number. I had a bit of a meltdown around the amount of random messages I was getting from the internet community, from the online community, and I just can't. This is, again, not the platform for that anymore. I'm not available just for chit chat for people. Ultimately, because this is why I've had to create these business boundaries, as it were, because I end up just exhausted because I can't not be who I am. I can't not engage on this level with every person. And my most intimate friends and family, they know that and they respect that. And ultimately they get it because they've been on the same journey for quite a few years as well. And they're doing the work in a very integral way. And so, yeah, they respect my time and energy in a way that we've learned over the years how to work that. So yeah, some of you might have noticed that you're blocked. You don't have access to me anymore, and I'm hearing I'm sorry, but I'm not actually sorry. I feel great about it because I'm not getting bombarded by random messages, you know. And yeah, like oh no, and then I'm like, yeah, but I'm free. There's other things I want to do and other people that I engage with. And ultimately there's clients who have respect for me in a very real way, who book my time or book packages and respect the package outline. And for those of you who have done that, thank you. Thank you so much, because you've shown me the difference in the people who don't really get it and who are not respecting the boundary and who are just dominating, controlling. And I'm not shifting blame here. I'm addressing these underlying patterns. So for any of you who are like, oh shit, it's like, well, yeah, that's cool. I'm just taking back my power. And so I'm giving you your power back as well. Namaste, my lovers. I'll speak to you soon. Peace.